Size is relative, and so is scale. And sometimes you need an object to be bigger or a little bit smaller. In order to do that, you use the scale command. The scale command will change the size of an object or objects according to a scale factor. That factor can be any type of positive and non-zero number. Now you can scale something by a factor of 2 or by a factor of 0.5. Well, let's open up a file to work with. Click on the Open Files and go to the Scale Examples file. Now here I have just a couple of shapes. They're just squares and rectangles. Now you start the scale command in a couple of different ways. Type in the word scale. Type in the keystroke S and C for scale. S is the stretch command. We don't want that. Or you can go to the Home tab on the ribbon, go to the Modify panel, and go to the Scale command. So once you start the command, you select the objects. You can use a crossing window. You can select them one at a time, however you want, just your normal selections. Once you've selected everything, press the Return key. And now you have to pick a reference point. First, I'm going to pick just this corner. Notice the glyph in my upper right-hand corner of my crosshairs. That's the scale glyph. It lets you know you're using the scale command. Now, the second point that AutoCAD is asking for will scale the object by the number of units your line is long. So you can see here on my little prompt, it says ortho is 24.1120. So that's stretched over from my first point all the way over this far. And that's the number of units. So it's going to scale this 26 times right at the moment. So it's going to be 26 times bigger. And you can see a little bit of a preview. And I'll zoom out a little bit to get a better idea. And that line is the absolute value of the length for the scale factor. So if I move to the right or if I move to the left, it doesn't matter. The line is just getting longer, so my scale factor is getting bigger. Now you can't make things smaller by just picking another point, because in order to be smaller, your scale factor has to be less than 1. So if I want this object to be 2 times as big as it was, I just type in the number 2 and press Enter. So I've doubled the size of my box. I'm going to undo this. So we're back to where we were. Now, if I want this to be smaller, start the scale command, press Enter, select my objects, press Enter again, pick my reference point, and then if I want it to be smaller, my scale factor has to be greater than 0, but less than 1. So if I want to cut this thing in half, I'll type in 0.5. And scale is a matter of reference. It's relative. It doesn't require any specific types of units. So I'm not telling it to scale this up by ½ an inch or ½ a meter. I'm just telling it to scale it by a percentage compared to its original size. So if you want to keep the original object that you're scaling, start the scale command, select your objects, press Return, pick your reference point. Now you see here we have options. Type in the letter C to copy it. And now I'm going to make this twice as big. So I have my box that's twice as big and then my original box as it was before. Now here's a trick that I've used several times, and I'm going to use it to divide this box into thirds. So let's say I need 3 sections inside this box. There's a lot of different ways you can do that, but here's one way you can do that using the scale command. Type in scale, press Enter, pick that top line, press Enter again. I'm going to pick this point. Now since I want this to be divided up into thirds, I'm going to use a scale factor of 1/3. But first, I'm going to use my copy command to make sure my old line stays there. And I'm going to type in 1/3. That's 1/3. When you're scaling, you can use fractions for your values. So this will scale it at 1/3. Press Return. I didn't see anything, right, because I used the copy command. I left that line there. But if I select it, see there's that little bitty line that's right there. I'll move this out of the way. And you can see that. Now I'm going to use the copy command. I'm going to select this object. And there we go. I've divided that box into 3 equal parts. I also used the copy and move commands just to give you an idea. I could have scaled this this way, just typed in 1/3 and left the line there so that you could see it, and then copied it, and then I can grip edit this line work and just stretch it back. That's definitely one way that you can divide something up along a line. So if you need to divide it up into half, you just type in 1/2, 1/2 or 1/5, etc. So the scale factor can be used to make things bigger, to make things smaller, or to help you with some bit of drafting trickery.